And then what you can do is just scroll to November 5th, and you'll see a question about stark fear. And I kind of remember this day. So I may get a few of the details wrong, but if I do, I guess that's okay. I guess the details aren't really important. What's important is what happened in me. But I had very strong habits during this time, but I would say they were habits from Holy Spirit. They were productive habits. I had habits of getting up every morning and going immediately into stillness. I was writing NTI at this time. Also, I often had conversations with Holy Spirit. I was studying the course. So I would go directly into stillness every morning and usually spend a minimum of 3 hours there. Of course, my stillness was a very active stillness, reading and writing, but still very dedicated stillness with Holy Spirit. What was unusual on this particular morning is when I got up, I felt a prompt to go into Pal Talk instead. And I remember even noticing that that was a very strange prompt for me to go into Pal Talk like around 7 or 7:30 on a Saturday morning instead of sitting down with Holy Spirit. But I trusted and I did go into Pal Talk.
Was it the Christian thing?
Nope, it wasn't the Christian thing. That was another day. Okay. There were only about 3 people in the room, as you can imagine, at like 7 or 7:30 on a Saturday morning. It was very dead. And it was 3 women, if I remember correctly. And here's where I get a little fuzzy on the details. So this story may be half made up, but it's not important. But it seems to me what I remember is that one of the women was talking about her son or her daughter who, as a teenager, became very involved with drugs, had an extremely unhealthy relationship with drugs, and in the end died. I don't remember if the death actually came from like a car accident while on drugs or an overdose or what, but, died from these habits. And they were talking, I don't remember all the details, but they were talking about this in a lot of detail, enough that you could really, at least I could really hear how hard it is to be a mother and want to help your teenage child and just not be able to reach them. And, of course, I'm a mother as well. And the story was so well told and so well discussed that I was able to get really caught up in the drama of it in a way as if
it brought fear to you.
It brought a lot of fear.
Right,
stark fear that something can happen, really bad to somebody really close, and there might not be a damn thing I can do about it, even though I see it coming. So I became very, very afraid. And it just brought up this stark fear in me. And so then I felt prompted to leave Pal Talk. I was only there like 20 minutes, just long enough to become terrified. And then I went and had this conversation with Holy Spirit. So that's the setup, and here's the conversation. So this morning, I seem to be looking at stark fear, as if the world is real. Again, something very, very bad can happen to, death. That's very, very bad in a real world. Okay, so this morning I seem to be looking at stark fear as if the world is real. I am noticing that if the world is real, my fear is real and has no end. In other words, I was realizing there will always be something to fear in this world. Always, 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 if I'm paying any attention at all. In fact, that's my next sentence. There we go. In the world, there is always something to fear. And so then I asked Holy Spirit, what would you share with me today?
But it's true. In the world, there's really something to fear.
Always.
Always.
Always. You cannot escape it.
You must be fearful. You must protect. You must be careful. You must be careful with anything you say. You must be careful when you cross the street. It's always, it's very fearful. Very fearful.
And Monica, I just gave you the link, and we are reading from November 5th. It's a message called A Question About Stark Fear. Okay, so here's Holy Spirit's answer. This is, of course, why I have told you that the world is not real. But let's talk about that for a moment. The world seems real to you, and the fears that you have within the world seem real to you. So why do I say it isn't real? To look at this, we must refocus on who you are. Within the world, you seem like a victim of forces beyond your control. That is what is not real. This is illusion. I have told you before that you are a creator. Creation is the extension of thought, but creation is eternal. What is not creation, but follows the properties of creation, is illusion.
Projection.
And since it is not eternal, it can be undone. To undo it, the thought that is extending to make the illusion must cease to be extended. And yeah, it's very interesting that he's using the word extend here instead of projection, which would be the language of the Course. But this, of course, is not by accident.
Of course.
What Holy Spirit is showing is that divine law is divine law. Absolutely. This is what Holy Spirit is showing. And to use two different words maybe makes it appear like it's two different processes. But Holy Spirit is showing divine law is divine law. And that's the very clear message here. Okay, so again, when the, let's see, oh, you already scrolled for me. No wonder I'm lost. Now where am I? Okay, so again, Holy Spirit says, that since it is not eternal, then it can be undone. To undo it, the thought that is extending to make illusion must cease to be extended. And then Holy Spirit talks about the thought that needs to cease to be extended when he says, fear begets fear. And you are a creator. Now, of course, this is an idea that I am very accustomed to now, but what we are reading is when I heard this, or at least got this, for the first time. Until the moment that I received this line, right here, that we are currently reading, until this moment, I did not realize that my fear in my mind was creating the experience of fear in the world. I did not know that. So you can imagine what an important message this is for me. And what that really does, or at least what that did for me. Again, everybody reacts to these kinds of messages differently. Some people may react to this kind of message feeling very guilty or even becoming more fearful. But the way I reacted to this message was with a greater willingness to let go of fear. Maybe that just comes from the inherent sense of responsibility that I have. But as soon as I realized that my fear was a part of the total problem, I wanted very much to start letting go of fear. So this was a very powerful message for me. Fear begets fear, and you are a creator. When you look at these two thoughts together, you can see how believing your fear continues to make a fearful world. This is why you must step back from your fear. Be willing to let go of everything you think and see and hear, so that which you believe can fade. Your fear gives it the power to be. When the power is taken away, that which is not eternal must cease to be. And I love the way this message ends.
That's amazing.
Your fear is the air that pumps up the monster. Take away the fear, and the monster deflates.
Amazing.
And like I said, this is an idea I'm very accustomed to now, but at this point, it was completely new to me. And until then, Holy Spirit had talked to me many times about letting go of fear, but I really thought I was only letting go of fear so I wouldn't be afraid, because being afraid is not comfortable. I did not understand how my fear participated in the creation of a fearful world. And so Holy Spirit, again, is really asking me to let go of my fear. But what I really get now for the first time, is that the world is not real, which is how he started. I'm getting that when I react to the world, I continue to create the world I reacted to. And that if I want to be a part of creating, let's call it a different world, I need to stop reacting to the one I'm experiencing now. I didn't get it until this day. So it was a pretty good message.